Welcome to another episode of the Destination Podcast, where we take you all around the cricketing world. Today, we've got a special guest from Cricket Papua New Guinea. We've got the General Manager, Mr. Lee McDowell. Lee, thanks for coming on the show.
No worries, Evan.
So before we jump into some of the great stuff that's happening in the current day in PNG, could you maybe just give us a brief history of where cricket's come from in PNG?
Yeah, so cricket started in Papua New Guinea probably in the sort of early 1900s with the missionaries coming into the country. Predominantly played in the coastal areas around the southern end of PNG. 1973, we became an associate member of the ICC. And we sort of worked hard since then and got to the position we are at the moment.
Yeah, very good. And I mean, I've been lucky enough to travel to PNG once and get to see a lot of the work that your organization's doing there. One of the things that really impressed me was your development programs. You've got one of the best associate development programs in the world of cricket. So maybe could you give the viewers a bit of a run through of what development cricket looks like in PNG?
Yeah, we've got a program in place. Well, it's been in place for 12 years now. With the same sponsor, which is incredible, Bank South Pacific. And it's called BSP School Cricket. And over the 12 years, we've had over 1.5 million participants in that program. It's won many international awards and has become a blueprint for a lot of other associate world cricket's entry-level programs. It's incorporated into the school program, so they go into schools and they teach cricket skills in their physical education and their personal development time slots in the curriculum. And then at the end of every term, we play a blast competition. So they get to put all their skills into practice and play a game. And then hopefully that leads from to playing cricket on weekends in the club scene. So it's been an extremely successful program. Last year, we got the participation, the ICC International Participation Award for that program, which is the second time that program's won that award. So it's certainly well recognised, and we're very lucky to have a sponsor that sees that benefit and has that investment in the kids in PNG. And that's operating through 11 of the 22 provinces at this stage. We've got plans to expand it across the whole country, but at the moment we've got about half the coverage. So things can only get better for cricket in the future as we expand. And many of the current international players got introduced to cricket through the BSP School Cricket program. So it really is a breeding ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, from there, I guess that's great that not only do they get to kind of try cricket out, but they get their first taste of kind of competitive cricket. But from there, what's the kind of next step for those that kind of take cricket up to get into kind of domestic cricket?
Yeah, so cricket is not a major sport in PNG. Papua New Guinea is very much dominated by rugby league. So we've got 4 affiliated associations under our umbrella, and then we've got other associations around the country that are starting to blossom. But so the kids from BSP School Cricket move into the club scene. There are pressures on facilities in PNG. So particularly around Port Moresby, where we have the majority of our cricketers, we really lack the number of fields we need to cater for everyone. So there really are, juniors would play shorter form cricket anyway, but even the seniors, they're playing more T20 cricket than anything else, just to make the available grounds cater for the numbers that are required. So it's one of our challenges. But it's the other issue with cricket in PNG is it's economically, it's a lot more expensive to play cricket than rugby league or soccer. And you need more facilities in terms of your turf or artificial wickets and so forth. So there's challenges to get the kids into the sport and keep them in the sport, but there are areas that we're aware of and we're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a challenge all around the world that cricket equipment's expensive and there's a lot of gear you need to play. I know one of the efforts that you have in PNG that kind of tries to bridge that gap and give a lot of talented players the opportunity to take their cricket further is your talent identification programs and some of your other camps and things like that that you run. So maybe can you run us through a little bit of what that looks like?
Yeah, so we employ a full-time talent identification manager. He's an ex-Barramundi, senior men's player for Papua New Guinea, Roddy Maha. So his job essentially is to travel around the provinces that we're playing cricket in. He runs camps, he runs competitions, and he looks to pick the talented kids particularly in the outer regions, and try and find ways to get them into Port Moresby to become part of the academy. Papua New Guinea is difficult, Evan, as you know, travelling there. It's a very mountainous country. The roads out of Port Moresby only go for about 2 hours, and then everywhere else is a flight. So it's an expensive operation to have to fly staff around the country to do these things, but it's a very important one, and Rodney's been doing it for quite a few years now and doing a great job. So we know Papua New Guinea has a wealth of natural talent, not only in cricket, in all sports, but there is an isolation in the way the country's set out and its topography that makes it difficult, particularly for young athletes up in the highlands to get to the major centres in Moresby or secondly Lay to get that to be seen. So Rodney travels around those 11 provinces looking for the talent.
And then from there, kind of when you find the talent and the ones that kind of make it through that process, then you have a whole array of different national teams that you run. So can you give me a little bit of a background of what national teams that PNG runs and some of the events and tournaments that they participate in?
Yeah, so we have an academy based in Port Moresby at Amini Park, which is the home of cricket. We currently have the three national sides: the national men's team, which are the Barramundis, the national women's team, which are the Lewas, and the national under-19 boys, which is the Garamooks. And then we have a host of development players underneath that are involved in the system. Our major tournaments during the year, the National One Day Cup, which we're about to start, which is sponsored by Zuzu. We also play a T20 Smash national competition. And then we have our regional events and lead-up events so regional events where TID can go and look at players to draw into the national competitions. Due to the numbers, what we do is we break our national team up into subgroups. So to keep the competitiveness in those national competitions, we may have 2 or 3 barriers in each side to keep the competition's integrity and make sure that the games are as competitive as they can be. When you're looking to select national sides.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a great opportunity for some of the players that are coming through as well to play with some of the players that they want to, kind of emulate.
It's a real eye opener when they come down from the outer regions and they see the professionalism of the Barramundis or the Lewas set up and what's required to play cricket as a full-time profession. And both our senior sides are full-time cricketers. That's their wage. So they're at Cricket House every day training and very dedicated to their diet and their health and their fitness and so forth. So when these talented regional players come down, it really does open its eyes to what's required and also what's available if you do that. I mean, there's over 100 cricket nations in the world. If you're part of a national side, you get to you have some great life experiences with travel, playing cricket in every corner of the globe. So it is inspiring for them to push forward and do that extra work to try and make a national squad.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of from there, I mean, you mentioned that, you're one of the nations that's invested a lot in your national teams and made the decision a fair while ago to give them contracts and allow some of your top players to earn a wage off that. What do you think some of the positives of having players that dedicate their time to cricket as their primary source of income does for PNG cricket in whole.
Well, I mean, firstly, with them dedicating and being full-time cricketers, our results have improved. Employment opportunities can be hard in PNG, and Cricket PNG employ 120 people across the country. So you know, that's a great thing for not just the employees themselves, but their communities. The PNG board decided quite a while ago to chase that high performance position, employing some very experienced coaches over the time. Most recently was Joe Dawes, who was involved with the Barramundis up until a couple of months ago. All the teams, but yeah, associate cricket, you can live or die by your results. You don't get to play a lot of cricket, so it's important that when you do get to play, your players are ready to go. And as I said, the board made the decision to invest in that and put players on full-time contracts and employ the best coaches we could to make sure that would happen.
Yeah, definitely. And so kind of speaking of that, if you look at this specific date, which is the 27th of October 2019, it was a very special day for PNG cricket. Could you explain kind of seeing that plan come to fruition and seeing your men's side, the Barramundis, qualify for the first ever World Cup?
Yeah, the Barras went into that tournament under a bit of a concern with their form, because in the Cricket World Cup League 2 competition, the 50 over competition, we just suffered a few losses. But they love their T20 cricket and got to Dubai and had a good win first up against Bermuda. Norman Vanuatu took a hat-trick in that game, which was phenomenal. And you could just watch them grow in confidence. And we got to the last pool game against Kenya, knowing that if we won that, we're in the finals and we're going to make a World Cup. I think nerves got the better of them a little bit. We were 5 for 19 batting first. And again, Norman Vanuatu come out and scored 54 off 48 balls and got us to 118. And then the bowlers come out and ripped through the Kenyan side, bowled them out for 75, and we're in the finals. Got all the way to the grand final of that tournament playing Netherlands. Before that, we had to wait for the result of the Netherlands-Scotland game to see whether we finished on top of our pool. And it came down to Scotland needing so many runs off so many balls, irrelevant of the result at the time, which I think everyone's seeing the reaction of our boys in the crowd jumping up and carrying on when they realised that had happened. Unfortunately, we got beaten in the final of the qualifier against Netherlands, who are a very accomplished side with many well-seasoned professionals. But it was a fantastic tournament, historic for PNG. We had so much media coverage for probably the first time in our history, and all credit to the boys did the job out in the field, and obviously the coaching staff, but also all the staff in the office. It was a real team effort, and we all took great pride in the result, as did the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of your friends across the region in the East Asia Pacific as well. I definitely saw a lot of support from over here in the Philippines and around the region. It's been great to see one of our own family members from the EAP make it to the tournament, and I'd highly encourage anybody that's in our region to back the Barras as they step towards the World Cup and get behind them. I think it'll be great to see them on the field in such a big tournament. And one kind of last point on that is one of the things that I thought was really fascinating about that qualifying tournament was the team that finished the spot below PNG is a full member nation in Ireland. So it just shows anybody out there that maybe isn't that familiar with associate cricket, there are some really, really good sides going around, and the Barras is one of those. But just to kind of move on a little bit from that and maybe kind of some of that exposure, some of the press that you got? I saw there was a phenomenal amount of TV and news coverage in PNG with the result. But what are some of the like positive social impacts that cricket has had in PNG, and maybe what's amplified since the kind of extra coverage you've been getting?
Well, as an organisation, we do a great deal of work in the community. One of our mottos is to bring positive social change to communities. Cricket is a great sport for doing that. As I said before, Papua New Guinea is rugby league is the #1 national sport, but I think just the difference in styles of way you play these two games to bring communities together, both men and women, children. Cricket is a very social game. It's non-contact, so to speak. So it's very easy to have that social impact and to get everyone together. And you see that particularly around all the coastal villages of PNG. But now we're getting the exposure from the World Cup. We're starting to see the highland areas grow and other areas of PNG grow. The World Cup can only improve that for us. We're probably the #1 sport in PNG for community development. We've had some very good sponsors over the time. We always work with people like the Coalition for Change and Tribal Foundation that are campaigning against things like domestic violence. We're one of the only sports that work in the disability sector, or the all abilities sector, I probably should say. So we've got a proud record of community development, and seeing these players on TV in the World Cup was only going to enhance our profile and allow us to access more areas of PNG. So that can only be good for not only our sport but communities in general.
Yeah, most definitely. And kind of to move on and kind of get towards the finish line of, I guess, this podcast. What are some of the things that are coming up for Cricket PNG? What's some of the kind of goals or targets that Cricket PNG have that they want to see happen?
Yeah, firstly, we want to get to this World Cup and perform well. So we've got 5 pillars to our strategy, and high performance is the first one. And as I said earlier, so much of your survival for associate cricket comes down to results. And if we do well in this World Cup, make the second round, it secures our entry for the next World Cup, which is huge. That leads into growing the game domestically, getting more kids interested in playing, and thus having more impact on the community in terms of those positive social change messages and that we try and get into Papua New Guinea. We need to work on our facilities. Obviously, with more people playing, we're going to have to create more space, which in PNG, custodial land is the issue there. So you need to talk to a lot of people to get access to use land in PNG. We want to build our profile and expand not only our followers in PNG, but around the world. And the World Cup, one of the commentators during the qualifiers, Ian Bishop, a former West Indian cricketer, he stated on air a few times that PNG could very well be the story of this World Cup, and that they will be everyone's second team because of the way the boys play. They're full of excitement, laughter, smiles. They just enjoy themselves. They're entertainers. So we expect to get a lot out of that. And from there, we've got grand plans of building a real high performance hub that might not only involve PNG, but our East Asia Pacific fellow members could come in and utilise and play cricket in PNG. Brings more people into the country. Now, PNG is a fabulous country. There's so much to see. Its reputation it's not as high as it should be in terms of people wanting to go there. And this just can draw people in and showcase the country and the beautiful people and have more of an effect on PNG and the economy in general rather than just cricket. So we've got some grand plans, and a lot of it is based around results, but we can only see good things happening, and country's full of talent. So we hope that we get more kids to play, and we can stay at that level for longer, and show the world what a small East Asia Pacific nation is capable of doing on the global scale.
Yeah, most definitely. I'd second that too. If anyone ever gets the chance to take a trip to PNG, do it. I'd highly encourage it. They're amazing, wonderful people, very hospitable, and yeah, there's some really, really great things you can see and do over there. So if you get the chance, go visit. Say hi to Cricket PNG while you're there.
Exactly.
But for anybody that kind of maybe watches the World Cup or is just interested in Cricket PNG and supporting or getting involved, what are some of the ways they can get involved and link in with cricket in PNG?
Yeah, so obviously all our socials, we've got our Cricket PNG website, which is cricketpng.org.png. We've got our Twitter, our Instagram, Facebook page, obviously. But the World Cup will be televised, but we're also invested in live streaming equipment. So we hope to get all our national competitions up on live stream on a YouTube channel and so forth. We've had no international cricket in PNG over the last 2 years because of COVID. Our home series have been postponed, but next year we should have 2 series in PNG, which will be broadcast by the ICC through IMG. So that'll give people more access to see our cricket and to see PNG. So exciting times and easy to follow, and we encourage everyone to get on board. We go in as the underdogs, obviously, the smallest nation playing in this World Cup, but I guarantee they'll entertain, and we encourage everyone to get on board and support the Barras.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll put all the links below. So if anybody's interested in checking out all their website and their social media, just have a look below in the description and you'll find it all there. Go and like their pages, follow their stuff. They're very constant with their content. So there's always updates. There's always things you can follow. So go give them a like, share their stuff, help spread the word of what's happening in PNG. And kind of one last thing before we wrap this up, what maybe would Cricket PNG or yourself like to see from an associate cricket point of view? What are some of the maybe things that people can get on board with, or what are some of the things that happen in the associate world that people aren't maybe aware of?
Look, the associate world of cricket is always a challenge. We in PNG we don't have a large pool of companies in terms of sponsorship, and to be honest, rugby league being the number one sport does attract most or a large sum of that pool, which makes it difficult for all other sports in PNG, not just cricket. But we're expanding. We're looking at the international market to that regard. And associate cricket, you don't get to play that often. So, and we know the ICC is working towards fixing that, and it's important because you can have a long time between drinks, so to speak, with your games. And for countries that don't have full-time cricketers, that is very difficult to get everyone in and be up for a tournament that you might play once or twice a year. So you're always at a disadvantage to the full member nations when you come to these qualifying events or major events like the World Cup. So there's many challenges, and it's not just up to the ICC to fix. It's not just up to the individual member to fix. It takes a whole of community approach. You need government support, sponsor support, cricket federations, all working together to make sure it happens. So yeah, we just look for more cooperation and more backing of associate cricket. And this deal that the ICC did with IMG to telecast the Cricket World Cup League 2 comp and so forth helps get cricket more on TV, and the second and third tier nations will get on TV. So hopefully that'll help generate interest and support and drive the game. But it also puts a lot of pressure on us when we get to an event like the World Cup to make sure that we're ready and we have a good account of ourselves on the world stage, to not only for PNG but for everyone else that's trying to get there from the associate world.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you, Lee, for coming on the show. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Yeah, please go like, share, support Cricket PNG, wish them well for the World Cup, and yeah, get on board with them. Even if you're supporting another team at the World Cup, adopt the Barras as your second team. They're a really great bunch of people that are working there, really passionate, local based of players, producing some great talent at home. And yeah, we from PCA, we wish you all the best, and yeah, we hope to see you do well in the future as well. So thanks again, Lee, for coming on the show, and we'll catch you next time with another episode. Take care.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks for the opportunity.